We'll try to get that as fast as possible.
Madam Chair.
The meeting of the Committee on Parent and Community Engagement of the Board of School Directors will please come to order. Will the Secretary please call the roll?
Director Leonard.
Present.
Director O'Halloran.
Here.
Director Simpson.
Present.
Director Zambor.
Present.
Chair Carr.
Present.
We have 5 committee members present.
The Chair will now ask the Secretary to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. The Chair invites any members of the audience who wish to participate to do so and asks that those who do not wish to participate please remain silent during the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin tonight's meeting, we have a short announcement regarding interpretation services for the Spanish-speaking members of our audience.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a la Junta Escolar de las Escuelas Públicas de Milwaukee. Si desea escuchar esta reunión en español, por favor llame al 312-626-6799. Nuevamente, 312-626-6799. E introduzca el número de reunión 608-130-5362. Nuevamente, el número de reunión es 608-130-5362. Gracias.
This meeting is being conducted in person from the Central Services Building. In order to allow as much public access and participation as possible, this meeting is also being broadcast via live stream on MPS website and on the MPS YouTube stream, the links to which may be found on the MPS website on the broadcast page. For each of our items of business, we will hold a discussion and public hearing. If you wish to speak, please fill out a speaker slip and bring it to our board clerk, Dr. Mann. Virtual speakers are asked to remain on the platform until you are called upon. After speaking, virtual speakers may follow the rest of the meeting using the broadcast information previously mentioned. When you are called upon to speak, please state your name and spell your last name for the record. For the sake of fairness and to give everyone a chance to speak, the chair reserves the right to limit the length of time allowed to any one speaker. Written testimony will be accepted for transmittal to the board. Send this testimony to the Office of Board Governance, P.O. Box 2181, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 53201-2181, or fax to 414-475-8071, or email it to governance, spelled out, at milwaukee.k12.wi.us. Just as a reminder, Robert's Rules of Order dictates how all comments should be directed to the chair of the committee. Also, any questions or requests, including those from the public, committee members, or the administration, are to be directed toward the chair, who will determine the most efficient way to address them. For the safety of all and to ensure the good order of the meeting, harassment or intimidation tactics of any kind will not be tolerated. Anyone who engages in such harassing or intimidating words or actions will immediately be asked to cease. If such behavior continues, a recess will be called and the offending parties will be removed from the meeting. Anyone ejected from the meeting may continue to listen to the meeting or access the agenda items online. However, the individual will not be allowed to rejoin the meeting. Also, no one other than members of the board, designated staff, and those who have been invited to present or participate in items of business will be allowed on stage before, during, or after meetings of the board and its committees. Finally, for our listening audience, if you wish to access this evening's agenda items and attachments online, you may do so by visiting the meetings, agendas, and minutes page on the MPS website. Now let's begin. Madam Secretary, item 1.
Item number 1 is a report with possible action on the Milwaukee Public Schools Department of Recreation and Community Services. This is an informational item, and although it has been noticed for possible action, no action is required.
Will the administration please present the item?
Madam Chair and members of the committee, the item before you this evening on this evening's agenda is a report from our Recreation Department sharing information on summer programming and upcoming fall sports and programs. To present this item, I have with me Lynn Greb, Senior Director of Recreation Services, as well as Brian Litsky, Manager of Recreation Services. Following the presentation, we'll be more than happy to entertain any questions that you may have. Lynn.
Thank you, Dr. Posley. Thank you very much. Lynn Greb, Director of Recreation, and I think we're just working to get our PowerPoint for your viewing pleasure. It's on? Okay, there we go. All right, so good evening, Chair Carr and members of the committee. Again, I'm Lynn Greb, Director of Recreation, and we really appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening to share some updates of the work being done in the Department of Recreation. Just a couple slides to go through. So we'd like to start with our 5 priorities for success, and I think as you'll see, a lot of the work that is done by the Recreation Department aligns within the various areas of the 5 priorities. So we'll move into our presentation and hopefully you can make that connection. Just as a refresher, wanted to share high-level overview of how our department is structured. We have basically 5 areas that we operate our programs within. Our after-school program area, which, as you know, we have approximately 100 locations that have after-school programming. Our citywide programs is a large network of different activities: swim, outdoor education, senior programs, adult sports, therapeutic recreation, and so on. Then we have our elementary, middle, and high school sports. I know you're very familiar with those programs. Our playgrounds and community centers, which also includes our twilight centers. And then finally, our recreation operations, which is a big part of our design, Dream Build Play initiative, and our maintenance of our 52 outdoor play fields. Oh, one other thing, just to highlight, we have a team of 97 full-time staff and approximately 1,600 staff that really make the programs go, our officials, our instructors, and support staff. Just quickly on our mission and vision, really our vision is to be the leading provider of affordable and high-quality recreation for the city of Milwaukee, and we believe we're on a good path, a trajectory to achieve that vision. And also, I just want to say too, as our mission is spells out about making the memorable experiences for people and also ensuring that our programs are open to people of all abilities and ages. And then lastly, for my portion of the presentation, just overview of our values. And a lot of this work that I just reviewed, the mission, vision, and values, really came through our strategic plan that the board approved in June of this year. But certainly our values encompass a large variety of areas, but specifically, we're focused on equity and ensuring that all people in our community have access to our services, and the rest also very important values that we uphold. So I'm going to now turn it over to Brian Litsky, who's our Manager of Operations. He's going to take a look forward at where we're headed for the fall.
Brian Litsky, Manager of Operations, Department of Recreation and Community Service. Chair Carr, fellow directors, just want to give you a brief overview of what to look for in our fall. We're very excited. First of all, we have our rec guide, which hopefully everyone got pretty last week or something. If you didn't get one, please stop by your local library or contact our office. We'll make sure you get one. And while you have it, make sure you're signing up for a few classes at your local community centers as well. So with that, some of our primary events for this fall, we have Run Back to School, and I think we just had some questions about what color is the shirt. So I have that surprise for you. It is safety orange, so you can coordinate this year if you like with your shorts or whatever you like. So we have that coming up. And so far, we have nearly 600 people registered. So we encourage you, if you haven't registered already, please stop by our office, give us a call and register. And as well, please encourage the schools in your district to sign up. It's a great event. A lot of team building. Families have a great time out there in Wickfield. We love to see you out there. The superintendent said he's going to have a 10-minute mile this year, so I'm going to hold him to that. So then after that, we also want to talk about this year is our second annual Ultimate Sports Day, which will be held out in Wickfield. This event is for our 1st through 8th graders, and it exposes them to a myriad of different sports that they may not have a chance to see. And hopefully what that does is that gets them ready as they start thinking about what sports they want to do, and they have options about, hey, I really love lacrosse, right? They're not exposed to that. So we'll have chances to do those things and other sports that normally they may not have a chance to, and gives them some real exposure. Next, we would like to talk about our 30th annual Halloween Glen, which we're very proud of. This is one of our longest ongoing special events. And if you haven't had a chance to get out there at the Glen, Hawthorne Glen, please, it's a great event. It's not scary at all, very educational friendly, lots of environmental things and it's a great chance to show off one of our jewels, which is the Glen, which a lot of people don't know about, and give exposure to kids and families. And lastly, one of our last big events for the fall is our Mother-Son Superhero Night, which will be held at Hamilton this year. And this event has been growing by leaps and bounds, even when we had a slowdown where we didn't have the event for COVID. The next year, we had a bigger turnout than ever, and then this event keeps growing. It's a chance for moms and sons to really, bond and have a really good time. So please join us if you can, or please promote it as well. Next, I want to kind of just give you a brief overview again of 2 of our play fields that are slated for revitalization to open up hopefully in mid-fall or late fall. As you know, we've had several of our play fields, and some of you have joined us for ribbon cuttings at these revitalized parks and play fields. And you know what they do for the community. You've seen how it just changes the whole environment of a community when these play fields are revitalized. And Carmen and Stark are soon to be joined in that illustrious group. We have lots of community engagement going on, and we have planning and design of quite a few number of our play fields, and hopefully those will be ongoing throughout. We stop for the winter, but definitely in the spring, we'll get those back going and keep that momentum going, and we'll have a chance to, at some point, everyone in our neighborhoods will be proud of their play fields, as they should be.
So again, thank you, Brian. And again, I'm Lynn Greb, Director of Recreation, and I would like to just share briefly an update on the Northside Community Center project that we all are very excited about. This is the old Browning property on 76 in Silver Spring that we are looking to revamp some of the building for office space, and then add community center space, redo some of the rooms there so we can hold programming inside the facility, and then add a gymnasium and aquatic facility onto the building. So it's a very large project. We just started working. Thank you. The contract was approved earlier this summer, and we just started working with the architect on the design. But a big part of the next year will be community engagement, and so we will be out in the area, in the community, getting feedback on what the residents would like to see in terms of programming for this space. So that will take a good part of the upcoming year, but then we'll get into the design plans and final construction documents. So it's going to be a process during the upcoming year, but we're very excited about what lies ahead, and I think it's going to be just a fantastic addition for our community, and we really need this presence, I believe, on the north side, and especially aquatic facility that is new and can, withhold the programming that we intend to do at that facility. So that's an update on that project. And then lastly, as far as our updates, looking forward in the fall, our high school sports has already kicked off. Practice has begun. And we're very excited this year that we will be launching a new look for the city conference. We've never really had a logo for the city conference, but those of you that follow athletics know when you see Big Ten, when you see SEC, when you see other conferences at the collegiate level, you know that you recognize it right away. Our intent is to make the Milwaukee Public Schools City Conference that same recognizable brand in our community. We think it's going to be exciting for the athletes and just elevate the presence, especially this kind of was inspired by all of the ESSER upgrades we're doing to our athletic facilities and the need for us to have branding. That takes me into the school mascot branding. We're working with all of the high schools right now to unify the look of their mascot. We have schools that have had iterations of mascots over the years, and sometimes we go in and out of which cardinal we're using or knight we're using. So we do want to get that consistent, and I think school leaders are very excited. We've worked with a couple already because those are the first gyms that are going to be redone. So I think look for that. It's going to be sharp, and it really is going to elevate, I think, city conference athletics. I mentioned fall sports, and then lastly, as you know, through board action, there was it passed a resolution to rename Custer Stadium to Jimmy Banks Memorial Stadium. We've already had the signage installed at the site, and we're just waiting on a few more minor adjustments, and then we will finalize the date for that grand reopening, and you'll be invited to that, and we're very excited about that. So I'm going to turn it back to Brian for our special concluding surprise, and
Everybody's
go
in
from there.
suspense. Brian Litzy, Recreation. So as Lynn mentioned earlier, we wanted to give you, as well as some what's coming in the fall, we wanted to give you some highlights of what we think is our special time to shine in recreation summer, where we have so many different programs, so many different age groups participating, and we have so many employees and caring individuals out there with our community. So this video will give you a brief example of all the smiles and all of the programming that we do over the summer, and really gives you a chance to look at how much recreation plays a vital part in this city's care and maintaining our young people and even our older adults all throughout the year, but especially in summer. So with that, we'll let the video roll. Thank you, Chair Carr, fellow directors. Thank you for the opportunity to let us show you what we do here in recreation and the administration as well. If you have any questions, we'll be here to answer.
Thank you. That makes my heart smile. Okay, all right. Are there any members of the committee who wish to make comments or ask questions? Director Leonard?
I have several. First of all, when you talk about branding, so I the other day we went to State Fair and I was wearing one of the MPS City Review shirts on. First of all, they're really sharp looking shirts, so I have to say that. But I got numerous people asking me what that was and what was it about. So it works. I think is a great way to go. It'd be great to get something that everybody looks at and says, "Oh, that's Milwaukee Public Schools. That's recreation." So. A more serious thing is, how are we doing for staffing for this fall?
Administration?
Chair Carr, Director Leonard, and members of the committee, that is something that is an ongoing project, but at this point, I don't see any red flags other than we have had a few childcare camps that since COVID we have not been able to reopen due to the challenges with finding the part-time staff, but we're continuously looking for, recruiting, doing social media pushes with banners, working with schools to get the word out. But we feel like over the last couple years, we've looked at our pay rates, we've made some adjustments and feel like we can be more competitive in several areas, like our high-need areas, our childcare, obviously, swimming, the aquatics area is very a high-need area. And so, yeah, at this point, I haven't heard any concerns that programs aren't going to be going. The good thing about a lot of our programs is they're continual, so, we're in a groove from season to season, and we don't have a lot of drop-off. Yeah, we're optimistic that we're going to be okay with going forward.
Director Leonard?
And then just one last thing, out of curiosity, do you have a number of adults and children that we service every year, just a ballpark number?
Administration?
Chair Carr and Director Leonard, members of the committee, again, Lynn Greb, Director of Recreation. That is the million-dollar question, I have to say. And we were recently working with Paulette to capture some of that information. And it's an ongoing process for us because we have a number of different ways that we capture the information via a registration system that we use for the classes in the rec book. The high school sports uses a different system. The child care program uses another system. So we're in the process of working with our technology staff to create a dashboard so that we can, at a snap of a finger, get that to you. But the other piece of it is that we have some programs that measure daily attendance and some just do registration. So not always apples to apples, but that's a long way of saying we'll be happy to share with you what we did provide recently to give you some sense of an idea of numbers served. But yeah, it's like I say, $1 million question, but a lot. We serve a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other members? Director O'Halloran?
Thank you. And I just wanted to thank your staff because, when you said there's like the 5 buckets or whatever, I feel like my kids and I have probably taken advantage of all of them. My daughter in particular really loves the Twilight Center, and I love that we advertise it kind of like as this safe place, but like I sometimes feel like we don't do a good job of conveying that it's also a lot of fun. My daughter literally like reaches out to her friends and asks me to take her at least twice a week. She's been swimming. She's just been having a lot of fun. So it's not just like a safe place. Everybody should go. And I did want to, aside from thanking you, I wanted to plug for those who are on the fence about the run back to school that if you organize, I'll be there. I'm going to run slowly. I won't be able to keep pace with Dr. Posley and his 10-minute miles. I'm past my prime on the running. But for those who are able to organize teams within their schools, that there is, can you just talk about there's a specific threshold and then they'll get a grant, is my understanding. Can you just plug that, please?
Administration?
Chair Carr and Director Director O'Halloran and members
People
of the
get us
committee.
mixed up all
Yeah.
the time.
I'm still on the previous question about how many participants we serve.
Yeah.
Yes, we shoot, the school that gets 25 or more individuals registered and indicate that school on their registration form would be eligible for a $500 mini grant to be used on wellness, supplies and equipment for their school community. And then the school with the most participants receives $1,000. So the challenge is out there and time is, ticking away, but we'd love to have more school teams involved, share that money.
Yes, thank you for plugging that. And for the, I think for the kids, I think it's $5. So it's not like the cost, some 5Ks, when you register, it's $25, $45. Like this, for $5, you can come out with your family and have a fun day. You did mention, you talked about the online registration system, and that just piqued a question. Is this on the radar ever for like a revisit of the user experience of registering? Because it's not necessarily intuitive if you don't know the specific like class code or whatever. Sometimes it can be not the most user-friendly. And I recognize that you're spinning a lot of plates, so like maybe that isn't on the radar as something to be done, but is that something you all talk about?
Administration?
Chair Carr, Director O'Halloran. Yeah, we constantly try to look at that experience for our end users. One thing we did go back to was having phone registration. We had dropped that for a while because we do understand sometimes it for maybe our older adults who are trying to register, it could be somewhat cumbersome at times, and we understand that's why we have that available. But we're always evaluating, different systems. Right now, we think we have, there's a few competitors out there. Right now, we think we have the best one available, but we always are asking them to do modifications to the system to make it better. But again, we do understand, and we've also publicized that you can phone in to do your registrations for help if you need it. And our staff has been very helpful to individuals who need that help. So,
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? Director Simpson?
Yeah, I was actually going to give a shout out to the registration process just because I couldn't find the class I was looking for and I had a question. So I did call and got a very friendly person on the other end of the line who was able to kind of just help me find the class and answer the questions I had. So yeah, so that adding that or bringing that back is really valuable and important. And I also think that this connection between MPS and the rec department, I know you spoke a year or two ago about how it's not there in every city and that we're kind of unique in that regard. So, just having that connection between our schools and the recreation department and what value that brings to our communities and our students and families. So just, I think it's so important. And then, yes, the booklets when they come, I know the families on our block, we are all eager to get them and compare what classes we're all signing kids and adults up for. So it really is something that that involves the community and brings them into our schools, even if they're not currently an MPS family. It brings them into our schools and gives them a peek at the things that we offer. So thank you so much for all the work that you do.
thank you.
All righty. Director Zomber?
Thank you, Chair Carr, and thank you to the administration for the update. We also got the book, and we are signed up for Bike Maintenance with Billy and Sushi 101. So very excited about that. I did have a question if there are any plans to expand wrestling in the future. I know a lot of the suburban districts, wrestling and football kind of go hand in hand for, the off-season and vice versa. And I don't notice a ton of opportunities. Are there plans to expand that?
Administration?
Chair Carr and Director Zomber and members of the committee, Great question. Our youth sports area we're trying to be more connected to the high school level to have that continuity so that we can get young people involved earlier in that. I know for wrestling in the past, we've partnered with a wrestling club that has offered some programming in our schools, but specifically as far as expanding right now, that would be a conversation that I certainly will have with our sports team. I'm not aware of anything specific to wrestling, but I know this past summer we worked closely with some of the high school coaches to offer specific type of camps for youth that aren't in high school yet. And so that potentially could be an opportunity for next summer to put that out there, but agreed, more opportunities to get younger people excited early so that when they get to the high school level, we already have, an infrastructure built and there's not a learning curve at freshman year, that they can come in already prepared. And I know like Reagan has a very active wrestling program, even males and females that are involved. But Dr. Posey, did you want to add that?
Madam Chair, members of the committee, one of the things that we have been looking at is all of our sports and having that pathway into the sport. And a lot of our young people are starting these sports at 9th grade, but you have to start far younger than that. And looking at how we can get involved in at an early stage with wrestling, hockey, you name it, the different sports that our young people do not get a chance to be a part of. Been riding around today looking at football fields because I'm looking to see how many students we have out on football fields. And that is another pathway sport as well when you don't have it at the Pee-wee level and those kinds of things where they work their way up. You get to high school and you have a drop-off with the number of students. So we have to do a better job with introducing young people early, and that's at the elementary level. And we're trying to do some things through our physical education department on a daily basis to get young people introduced to some of the sports, and which will become lifelong sports in the future.
Thank you. Any follow-up?
I do have one more question, if that's okay. And then also, have there been conversations about more like winter sports? Not just hockey, but like skating or other more popular sports that we can really only do here.
Administration?
Chair Carr and Director Zomber and members of the committee, just for clarification, are you indicating at the high school level or just activities to introduce young people to additional winter sports? I will certainly take that suggestion back to the staff, and our conversations, we always are trying to evolve with our activities and introduce new activities. So if there is an interest, we can certainly explore. You mentioned skating. Are there other specific winter sports you're thinking might be?
I had a constituent that asked me a while ago, and so I thought when I talk to, I'll ask the question. But no, I think skating, cross-country skiing, possibly, just more sports that would involve snow or ice.
And if I could just add, you reminded me when you said like cross-country skiing, so Hawthorne Glen that Brian mentioned earlier, we offer cross-country skiing during the winter when we do have snow, that you can come and rent skis. We also offer lessons, which again is a challenge with the weather kind of changing. Snowshoeing is another activity at the Glen, as well as sledding. We have a small berm that we offer, tobogganing for school groups. So there are some winter sports we are able to do at Hawthorne Glen, but we need more winter. I know not everybody wants that, but the skating was tough. We tried a skating rink for a few years at one of our play fields, but it would freeze, and then the next month it was melting, and it was just really hard to keep maintaining. So we'll have to be more creative with how we can keep the winter going without the weather.
No more? Director O'Halloran?
Thank you. I just wanted to piggyback off of the comment around building up the sports infrastructure with the younger age. I also, just like my son plays club soccer, and he plays with a lot of kids from the suburbs, and already over the summer, they're working out in weight rooms. They're doing captain's practices, which I know there are WIAA rules around like how much contact the school can have with the athletes. So I think that there's like things to work through through that, but advertising the availability of weight rooms, that if we can work out programs for that, it does help like just with the conditioning so that they're coming into the fall season, whatever. I think there was a school district that started at 12:01 or something for football season. Like they made some big headlines about, but it just helps us get started on the right foot and it builds that team camaraderie. So I would love to hear more about this going forward. I don't know that this is necessarily the recreation. I don't know if would be a discussion with Commissioner Kelsey or whomever, but I'm here for that. That's all I'm saying.
Anyone else? No, it's okay. All right, are there any members of the public who wish to make comments?
Madam Chair, we have no request for public testimony on this item.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion? No? All right. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
The next item is item number 2, which is a report with possible action on the 2023 through 2028 strategic plan webpage related to the parent and community use. This is an informational item, and although it has been noticed for possible action, no action is required.
Would the administration please present the item?
Madam Chair and members of the committee, this evening we bring to you an update on the district strategic plans webpage and the usage for parents and community members. I have Christy Stone, Director of Strategic Partnerships and Customer Services, to lead us through, and after which we'll be more than happy to entertain any questions that you may have in regards to this item. Christy.
Good evening, Director Carr and members of the committee. Again, my name is Christy Stone, Director of Strategic Partnerships and Customer Service here at MPS. This evening, I'll go over the new strategic plan website that just launched as a tool to keep our families and our community stakeholders informed. As we look at the district's 5 priorities for success, the strategic plan efforts support all 5 areas. But in particular, it does have alignment with strengthening communication and collaboration. On July 1st of 2023, the new strategic plan went into effect. This was a highly collaborative process that included various departments, students, staff, families, and community members. The district wanted to make sure that everyone had an opportunity to provide input on this project. So multiple family and community feedback sessions were held throughout the early spring to ensure the planning process was inclusive and that all voices had an opportunity to be heard. Now that the strategic plan is complete, the public can access this information and much more on the MPS website by clicking on the strategic plan icon in the center of the webpage. When you go to the Strategic Plan tab, you can find more information on the MPS organizational profile. Visitors can learn more about the Baldrige framework that was used to guide this project, as well as detailed information on the strategic planning process. You can also find the survey results, and most importantly, you can learn about the strategic initiatives and measures that will be addressed as part of the strategic plan for the 2023 through 2028 school years. Visitors can view the 5-year timelines and action steps for each of the strategic initiatives by clicking on the highlighted links. Those initiatives are student achievement, graduation and post-secondary preparedness, staff and professional learning, staff morale, right-sizing the district, right-sizing facilities and upgrades, and then also special projects that include budget planning, the calendar, communications, and the school lunch program. Here's an example of one of the 5-year timelines. This particular one comes from the special project on communication. It highlights what activities and milestones will be achieved by each school year between now and 2028.
And at the bottom of the page, there's a detailed chart that indicates the work that will be done each month during the 2023-2024 school year. One of the activities the Communication Department is highly focused on is highlighted by the arrow that reads, "To make the district and school websites easily accessible, intuitive, and up-to-date for all stakeholders." We understand that the website is a commonly used source for information for the district, so making it easier to find and more visually appealing and relevant is important as we begin executing the strategic plan. Currently, the communications team is going through an overhaul of the website, which is a significant undertaking and will be an ongoing area of focus throughout the strategic planning process. Now that their timeline and action steps are clearly laid out, they have already started to do the work to achieve their goals. One way that they're doing this is by utilizing family and community members who took part in the strategic plan survey at the beginning of the process and indicated that they would like to be contacted for additional opportunities to work with the district. So they were contacted and asked to be a part of focus groups on the development of the new website and to share more insight on how to improve marketing and communications for the district. The communication team has already held 2 family and community focus group sessions so far and have another one planned for this week. So please note that the website, the strategic plan website icon is active. We're constantly, getting new feedback and updates from our community members. So it'll continue to evolve over time as we digest that information and make sure that we have the relevant information out there that's needed for our families. So that concludes the strategic planning website portion for me, and I'd like to turn it over to Mrs. Vasna Her. She's a proud and active MPS parent, and she'll share more about her experience with the website, her experience as an MPS parent, and the strategic plan.
Can you hear me now? Okay. Good evening, Chair Carr and the members of the committee. So my name is Vasna Her, as Christy Stone mentioned, and I am a proud parent of 2 MPS students. So my son attends Golden Mayer. He's a 6th grader this year, and my daughter attends Lloyd Barbie Montessori, and she'll be going to 2nd grade. So we are all very excited for the school year to begin. Now, there are many reasons why I chose to send my 2 young children to MPS. One of them is really for all of the various learning opportunities that are available. And in addition to that, the career and the college preparation pathways that are available to the kids, my kids along with all the other kids who attend MPS. So that they all have the opportunity to really become well-rounded individuals. Now, a few things that I really do like about my child's school is that they just communicate extremely well with families, so that I very much appreciate. I especially love that the schools, even though they use their different platforms to communicate with us, I love that they use Dojo and Remind, because it allows me as a parent to be able to connect directly with the teachers kind of throughout the day in case something does come up with my kids, whether they found themselves in a situation or they're just sad for whatever reasons. The teachers are able to really stay connected with me that way, so I really do appreciate it. And I'm also able to get updates regarding events and things that are happening throughout the school via those apps. So again, very, very much appreciate it. The principals, along with the staff and the teachers, are all very caring, and that is very obvious through their actions. So again, we just really love working with the students, the staff, and the principals at the schools that my kids attend. Now, I also really do appreciate all of the extracurricular activities that are offered through the schools that they attend. So, for example, this last year, my son got the opportunity to go on the National Parks Tour with several other kids. I think there was about like 30 of them. And I mean, this is his first time out of state, away from family, and he just had a blast. He was really nervous at first, but he just had a blast. He got the opportunity to really step out of his comfort zone, to bond with other kids that he typically doesn't socialize with. He learned a lot of history about the various parks that they visit, and he just had a great time. And for my daughter, who attends Barbie Montessori, she got the opportunity to take part in ukulele lessons last year, and she just absolutely loved that. And so we bought her a little ukulele to kind of show us what she had learned. As a busy mom, I find it very helpful to receive updates and communication from the districts as well as directly from my kids' school on a regular basis. And again, I'm just really appreciative of the different avenues in which those updates and communication come to us, emails, phone calls, newsletters. Again, Dojo. I love Dojo. And I also got the opportunity to look at the strategic plan on the MPS website. And, I just have to say the way that the website is laid out is very easy. At least for me, I found it extremely easy to be able to find information on the strategic plan and other information that I'm looking for, whether that's like a school supply list, as we're all getting supplies for our kids. So the website is laid out in a way that I think it's really easy to follow and to be able to find information. I also really do appreciate the holistic approach of the strategic plan because, it not only focuses on increasing student graduation and achievement, but also has a strong focus on staff development. So that really shows me, that the district is very supportive of the staff and wanting to be able to grow a really good staff to be able to teach all of our kids. So, my kids, once the school year starts, they're in school weekly, kind of like with many other kids. And I want to just be able to know that I'm sending them to a place that is safe, a place that is clean, and a place that really fosters learning. And so just knowing that they are in the hands of teachers and other staff who really do care for them, really helps me to help me to be at ease. So, I just feel that the strategic plan really hits on those points for me. So again, really appreciative of all of the great work that everyone is doing. And something that I'd love to see more of is a robust tutoring program. At my son's school at Golden Mayer, last year they did a wonderful job of kind of keeping families informed about the tutoring that was available at their school. And, I'd love to see this even from the elementary level and up, more of a robust tutoring program so that we, can really access that service should our kids need it. So with that, I just wanted to say that overall, my family and I are really, really happy about having our kids attend MPS. My husband and I, are very happy that with the education that our kids have received up to this point and will continue to receive. So I'm really looking forward to the positive impact that the strategic plan will have, on my kids and the many other kids that are attending MPS, as well as the staff and the district as a whole. So with that, I just wanted to thank you all for the opportunity to share my experience. So thank you so much.
That concludes our presentation. Are there any questions that we can answer for you?
Do committee members wish to make comments, ask questions? Director Leonard?
So first of all, I'm glad that I was at Barbie Montessori, and I was actually very, very impressed with the both the principal and the programs they had for reading through Common Ground that were there. I was just really, I was supposed to be there for about an hour. I spent a good portion of the day there. So it was eye-opening, and what I saw tells me that if we could duplicate that in all of our elementary buildings, that would really, really have a major impact on our students' ability to improve on their reading abilities and their comprehension levels. So yeah, I have to attest that your child is in the right school. If you want them to be someplace where they're very caring, they definitely are. I did have to ask, with regards to the website production and all the things that we're doing, how long before we are completely ready? I'm not sure how to ask that question even, to be honest. I guess I want to say effectively ready, because I think it's obviously going to be an ongoing thing forever, but
Madam Chair, members of the board, Nicole Amadeus is here and then stepped up in the seat. Go ahead, Nicole.
Chair Carr, Director Leonard. So right now, we are completing a study of the website. As Ms. Stone said, we are conducting focus groups, which are wrapping up. We have one more to do that will involve students. So we will then have touched on focus groups with all of the same groups that we reached out to in terms of the strategic plan. So that's families, community members, students, and staff. Once that information is collected, then our consultant, Northwoods, who we're working with, will have everything that they need to begin data analysis, and we're hoping to have the report of their findings by mid-September. So we will be sending invitations out. We actually are in the process this week or next week to send out invitations for relevant stakeholders in the district to give them an overview of all of the work that is being done there. So then when we get to the report, then they're familiar with everything, they know what they need to do, and everyone will understand what they're seeing. That report will include recommendations. So again, the study is looking at all of the data. So things like current site map and how that leads people, to be able to find information. An analysis of analytics. Are things getting clicked on? Do we have things on our website that have never been looked at in 5 years? And then looking at other district sites or similar sites to see what are more standard site maps, what are best practices, heat map analysis, and then again, the survey results from the surveys we sent out back, I think, in April. I believe that was the month. And then the focus group feedback. So they're going to take all of that and they're going to give us recommendations. And from there, we'll have an implementation timeline. So that is a very long-winded way to say we'll have the recommendations of the report, and from there, we'll have a process for implementation. And I believe our consultant will have a recommendation for what they believe that timeline can and should be.
no, actually, I appreciate the detail. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. I'm good.
Director O'Halloran.
I just wanted to thank administration and thank you for presenting. I know as I have 2 children, but I'm my 6th grader is my baby. So we're kind of in different areas at this point, but I know how hard it is to carve out time to engage in meetings and all these other activities. So I just really appreciate you coming and sharing the feedback and what's working well. Dojo does work really well. It's nice to be able to, oh, Elsa forgot her clarinet and she needs it. Can you run it over? That's great. Or I can, as a parent, reach out and say, wasn't a great sleep night. Today may be rough, So like that kind of informal communication is really helpful. And then also just like sharing what you would like to see as far as like the robust tutoring. And I know that some schools have had stronger tutoring programs or relationships. And so I think that's something that throughout the district, I think there's a hunger for that. So I appreciate just your time and your wisdom.
Thank you. Anyone else from the committee? Can I pass the gavel? Okay. So first of all, I want to thank the administration for hearing everyone. It's one thing to just survey the community and parents, and it's another thing to apply the results of those surveys. And I know with PACE being the audience or the committee specifically for parents and community engagement, it was really important as chair, vice chair, and committee members that we really dig deeper and apply the remarks, the suggestions, the concerns in this space to allow for our parents and our community members to feel heard and to see what we're doing with that. And so I do want to thank everyone who kind of took a shift from the original plans to pivot and readjust to a different chair and a different level of expectations and a different vision. I also want to say I'm very appreciative of the parent being able to speak to the audience for this reason. A lot of people like to talk about choices, and that can be very political. But when we're thinking about Milwaukee Public Schools, there are so many choices and options within the district. And I am excited to hear from so many more parents who have multiple children and their children attend different schools, because what may work for one child may not work for the other, and our parents need to understand the options, the choices that we have available within the district. I'm also excited and supportive of the work of Milwaukee Rec and Student Support Services and everyone else who's coming together and collaborating to redesign how we operate as a committee, and also, again, apply what was shared with us through the surveys and put it into action. So I do want to thank you all, and I'm excited about the future of PACE because I know that we have so many individuals who are so invested in this work and who care, and we have so many parents who don't understand all that MPS has to offer. And so collectively, as we move forward thinking, I'm excited to redesign this and be in partnership with you all. So thank you for your time, your energy, and everything else. And yeah, I'm excited about this. Thank you. Give me the gavel back.
So noted.
All right. Are there any members of the public who wish to make comments?
Madam Chair, we have no request for public testimony on this item.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right. Madam Secretary, next item, please.
Madam Chair, that was the last item on tonight's agenda.
All right. There being no further business before the committee, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you, and have a great evening.